All right, geometry. So I have at least 3 of each planned, if not more, because these problems can be a little bit different, but they all are roughly the same, okay? So it says, find the length of side x in simplest radical form with a rational denominator. So we'll talk about what that means when we need to. First of all, I see 45, 45, 90. This is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Side length, side length, side length, square root of 2. That's immediately how I label this. Well, we need to find what x is. X is the side length, square root of 2. Look here. They give you what the side length is. The side length is 7. So x is just 7, square root of 2. You're done. That's it. Don't overthink it. Use the labels, memorize it, and get it done. There we go. Okay, next one here. Same kind of problem, right? Find the length of x in simplest radical form with a rational denominator. So here we go. Again, 45, 45, 90, label it S, S, and then this hypotenuse is S square root of 2. I want to find what x is. X is S square root of 2. They give you what S is. Now, S is not just 3. S is the square root of 3. So that means that x is going to be the square root of 3 times the square root of 2. Or there's a rule involving radicals or square roots that as long as you're multiplying, you can multiply what's inside and put it into one square root. So you can do 3 times 2 and get 6. Now, if 6 could simplify radically, we would have to do that, but it does not. That is your answer, square root of 6. Again, don't overthink it. It should be quick. If it's not quick, you're overthinking it and not knowing what you're doing. Stop, ask for help. Okay, next one. Still a 45, 45, 90 triangle, but now look where x is. X is on a leg. Well, let's take a look at this. So 45, 45, 90, S, 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 square root of 2. This time, x is equal to s. So we need to find out what s is. Well, in order to do that, we need to work with this, right? We are given 4 as s square root of 2. S square root of 2 is equal to 4. To get the s by itself, we have to get rid of the square root of 2. To get rid of the square root of 2, we need to divide by the square root of 2 on both sides. They cancel here. There's your s. And now this requires some work because notice it says simplest radical 4 with a rational denominator. The square root of 2 is considered irrational. That's not a rational denominator. So here's what you have to do. You have to take the top and bottom of this fraction and multiply by that square root of 2. So what does this do for us? Well, s is now on the top. You just write these next to each other. 4 square root of 2. On the bottom, what is the square root of 2 times the square root of 2? Well, the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4. Remember, you can multiply. But what's the square root of 4? The square root of 4 is just 2. So this is called rationalizing the denominator. Again, that's because they want a rational denominator. So we're rationalizing the denominator. So this denominator, when you multiply by it, releases the 2 from the square root. And now the last thing you have to check for is if you can simplify vertically. 4 and 2 do simplify. 4 divided by 2 is 2. The square root of 2 does not change because this 2 on the bottom is not inside of a square root. And that is your value of s, 2 square root of 2. That is definitely tricky, for sure. Let's do one more like that. Okay, so let's take a look at this one here. All right, so same kind of setup as the last one. This is a 45, 45, 90. So we have s, s, s square root of 2. Again, we want to find out what x is. X is equal to s. So we need to figure out what s is. Now they give us what s square root of 2 is. S square root of 2 is equal to the square root of 5. Well, to get s by itself, we divide by the square root of 2, divide by the square root of 2. They cancel here. I'm going to come up here. So S equals, and now how do we handle this? Well, first of all, just like we multiply, we could divide. So if 5 and 2 were able to simplify, do that. And you might be able to get rid of the denominator all on itself. But they don't. So again, we need to rationalize. We have to multiply the top and bottom by the bottom. Square root of 2, square root of 2. What happens? Up top, you combine square root of 5 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 10. On the bottom, remember, what's the point of rationalizing? The point of rationalizing is to get rid of the square root. It does. It releases the 2. And now we have to look at 10, but 10 does not have any perfect square factors, so that's simplified. The 2 on the bottom cannot divide into the 10 because the 2 is not in a square root. That is your value of x, square root of 10 divided by 2. Notice this bar is not underneath the square root. It's not like this, square root of 10 over 2. That's not what it is. The square root of 10 is solely on top, and the 2 on the bottom does not have a square root around it. So your answer is square root of 10. I press the arrow to the right. If I don't, look what happens. I don't want that. I don't want it inside. Press the arrow to the right, divided by 2. That's what I want. Nice work. All right, there's your 45, 45, 90s. 30, 60, 90 is coming up.